buying a gun for the first time can be a very confusing and daunting task. We're here at Bullet and Barrel, the Northern Alabama's most premier indoor range. We are thankful to be here because they offer something that some ranges don't. See these guns up here? Before you purchase a gun, you can go and fire every single one of these to make sure that you have got the right gun. Too many people go into the range or go into a gun store and they hold a gun and they say, yeah, this feels good in my hand, never shot it, and they purchase the gun. Don't do that. And don't listen to other people or what you think or what they think you should have as a gun. So let's go up here and let's take some of these guns and let's take a look at some of the good characteristics and some of the bad characteristics. So let's look at this little bitty 38 Special, okay? Too many times we see this happening. The husband thinking that the wife or the girlfriend needs a revolver because it's simple. That might be partially true, okay? But there are some things that these little revolvers have that aren't necessarily good traits. It's a little gun. It's hard to shoot. One, the sight radius is very short. The longer the sight radius is, the more accurate the gun is because we put in the human factor and we need a long sight radius. The other thing is because the gun is small, it's going to be lighter. Lighter is easy to carry, but on the flip side, it's really a bad thing because when you shoot this gun, it is going to have some significant recoil. It doesn't have any of the action to take up any of the recoil like the semi-automatics. It does have limited amount of capacity. This only has 5, some has 6, what have you. The other thing that we've seen, guys, is that older men and women have trouble, especially if they have arthritis in their fingers, actually have trouble pulling the double action trigger pull. That, if you've never shot this gun and you need it and you bring it to bear to defend yourself and realize at that time that you can't pull the trigger, that's not good. So these little revolvers, though they are very concealable, there's really, unless you're an accomplished shooter, I wouldn't go with it right off the bat, especially. They're very good for a backup, say in your ankle or something, but not for a primary firearm. So let's look at another one. Let's look at over here. Let's look at this little 380. All right, so let's talk about this one. So again, it has a very short sight radius. The longer the better. It's going to be more accurate. The weight of it is not really significant. It is easy to carry, but if you have a little bit of weight, it is going to help with the recoil. Though this is a 380, which is basically a 9mm short, it does not have the recoil of a 9mm, but because the frame is shorter and lighter, it is going to, the recoil is going to be fairly significant. Generally speaking, a lot of times the manipulation of the slide, bringing the slide to the rear, is actually very stiff. So if you don't have strong hands, it can be somewhat cumbersome. Now, the reason is because it has a short spring. If you have a longer slide, the spring is going to be longer and it can take up that recoil a lot better. The other thing is that if you are gripping the gun, all right, a lot of them have a short grip. Great for concealment, not very good for accuracy and mainly for recoil. Because you want to get as much hand on this gun. And these little guns, they don't have a lot of surface area to do that. The other thing is when you drop the magazine, you notice the magazine actually, on this one, it has a little part on it that actually rounds out the grip. When you drop it, if you don't do what I call a pinky up, that magazine is not going to fall, which means that you're not going to effectively be able to do a magazine change. Problematic if you got to go to a second magazine. So the little guns, I would not at all go to a gun store and buy a little gun at all. The problem is the guys at the gun store that are behind the counter, a lot of them aren't instructors. They don't see what we see downrange and the problems people have when they bring a gun like this to training. And they usually buy a bigger gun. They find that out pretty quickly. So this is a subcompact. Both of these, I would say, both the Revolver and the shorter semi-automatics are subcompacts. So let's move up to a compact gun. So this is a Glock 19. This is a very popular gun, and the size of the gun is extremely popular also. Now you notice, first thing is it's a bigger gun, so the sight radius is going to be longer, which means it's going to be more accurate. The slide, to manipulate the slide, because the recoil spring is a little longer, generally speaking, it's a little bit easier to manipulate. That's a good thing. The grip, you have more of a full grip. You notice it's not a huge grip, but my whole hand is on this grip. That does two things for me. One, it allows the magazine to drop freely because my hand is not hitting the grip itself. The other thing it does is it allows my whole hand to get on that grip to control that recoil. I also have more surface area here to put my support hand in order to control that recoil also. So this is actually a good sized gun, and I promote this size gun for people that are buying guns the first time, especially if they want to conceal it. So a lot of you ladies out there are saying, well, this is still a big gun. How am I going to put it on my frame? Let me tell you, ladies, don't give up. There are a lot of new holsters out there that are for ladies, specifically for ladies, and they're very innovative on ways to carry a gun, okay? So let's go to more of a service size or a full size gun. All right, so this is actually a Glock Model 22. It's a 40 caliber pistol. It's a full-size pistol. If you got to ask yourself, if you wake up in the morning and you say, look, if today's the day that I'm going to get in a gunfight, what gun do you want to bring to that gunfight or pistol? Do you want to bring that little bitty one? Do you want to bring the compact size, or do you want to bring a full size? What's the benefits of the full size? Well, you notice the slide is longer. So you've got more sight radius, all right, longer, the front and rear sight are farther apart. That promotes accuracy. The slide itself, depending on the caliber, is relatively easy to manipulate. There's a lot of surface area here to use to manipulate. So, for instance, if you're doing malfunctions drills, what have you, you have some surface area to grab it where you don't on those little bitty guns. My hand, again, my whole hands, okay, all of it are on the grip, not hanging over near the magazine well. So if I want to make a magazine change, the magazine drops free. Also helps with the recoil. Now, people say, well, that's just too big of a gun for me to carry. Let me tell you something. I have a Glock 17 that I carry almost every day. I love it. I've got good holsters, and I have experimented with ways to actually carry it. So to kind of sum up, go to the gun store, come out here to Bullet and Barrel, fire these guns before you make an actual purchase. We also have a gun selection course that we will take you through a very regimented process to figure out which gun you should use. It's both in the classroom and both shooting the gun. Now, the final thing is that you need to shoot the gun. So we're going to go to the range and we're going to shoot a gun and see if it fits us. Okay guys, so coming to the range is kind of the final process in your decision making on which gun you want. So there's certain things that you should look for in a gun when you shoot it. One, so is the recoil such that I'm having to manipulate my grip? that can not only be from the recoil, it can also be that the grip or the gun doesn't fit your hand. So if you have a smaller hand, those bigger double stack magazine holding pistols may not be for you because that grip's going to be significantly bigger. So make sure that you're not readjusting your grip every time the gun is fired. The other thing is accuracy. Though accuracy is something that you can train, and it's not that hard, you can make a student much more accurate, but you want to be able to get on the target. You want to be able to not be flinching all the time, trying to control the recoil yourself. So getting on the target is significant, but again, it's not a major thing because you can train accuracy. That's what people do every day. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that when you buy a gun for yourself. Don't listen to other people. What do I mean by that? Well, example. So a lot of couples, they want to, or the guy wants to have one caliber because it's easy between the two of them. He shoots a 9mm good, but she really doesn't like it. Maybe it's a little bit more recoil than she wants to deal with. So maybe she likes a 380. Well, you know what? If she likes that 380, go with it. It's better to have a gun that both of you fire really well than a gun that one of you doesn't like. It also promotes going to the range and have a happier time if she is able to handle that recoil, and it's much more pleasurable. So guys, I hope that helps. Get on our website, bishop30solutions.com, also our YouTube channel. Check that out. We have other training videos that might help you. And guys, please be safe out there.